Let's talk about Scavengers. It is a new battle royale that is out, and I am excited to talk about it. I haven't been excited about a game in a while, and since I've really started this channel, I haven't been excited about a game, and I've always wanted to do game reviews, but nothing's really piqued my interest enough to actually do that. And so I'm excited to talk about Scavengers today. It's a new PvPVE battle royale game where you're going to be fighting NPCs and other players. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I am Epic Assassin, and this is the Epic Gaming channel. I know I've been gone for a while, and for those of you that have been around the channel for a while, I appreciate you sticking around. And for those of you that are new to the channel, thank you for coming. But let's get right into this video. So there are a few unique things about Scavengers, and there's a couple that I really want to go over. First of all is going to be movement. I want to talk about gunplay, the characters, the crafting, and the overall objective of the match and how they play out. All right, so first off is movement. I've heard some complaints about the movement being slow and clunky, and I really don't feel like that's true just based off of the size of the map. This is an insanely large map compared to most battle royales that are out right now, and so I could see where the movement seems like it's at a slow pace, but it's really not. And especially when you add in the ability to slide, especially when you're sliding down hills, you pick up a ton of speed. And I'll show some clips of just what that looks like. And the animation for that launch out of this slide when you jump is insane. It reminds me a ton of Warframe, but if you're switching from a game like COD, the movement is going to seem a lot slower. If I could compare it to any other game, the movement speed is a lot like Apex. While I can agree that the movement does have some work to be done, it's nowhere near as fluid as Apex is yet, but I feel like that's something that's going to get work done. The player base is still being built, and I feel like a lot of upgrades are going to come as this game gets more popularity. I'm going to try to compare this game to a lot of other games, at least so you know what to expect when you first get into that match. And so when I talk about gunplay, if I had to compare it to a game, it would be Fortnite. It's a third-person shooter, so the shooting mechanic is very similar. There's a hipfire box, and your shot's going to hit somewhere within that, and you do have some more accurate shots at the beginning and while you're ADSing, but it's not like an ADS in COD where you're going to be looking down sights unless you're using a character like Tarek, whose special weapon is a sniper rifle. Now, there are some other weapons in the game that do have scopes that fire the exact same way, so if that's something that you're interested in, I would recommend just finding one of those crossbows or using Tarek and using his sniper rifle. That way you still have that first person shooter playstyle. One thing I can definitely credit them on is the balance of these guns seems really good. You don't see a clear meta yet, and I haven't been playing for that long, so I can't really say that that won't happen. But so far, I haven't seen what you're going to see in COD where there's only 3 weapons being used. That is not happening yet. So far, the game seems really well balanced where certain weapons are going to work better at certain ranges, as far as SMGs and shotguns are going to work better at close range rather than a sniper rifle. And that's how it should be. So moving on to characters, I'm going to switch over to my streaming view. That way you can see what characters I'm talking about and what their abilities are and what they look like. All right, characters. So far, there are 7 characters that you can play as. You have 3 initially unlocked, and over time you'll be able to get points and unlock more. So far I've been maining Tarek just because I love sniping in video games. It's what I'm really good at, and so it calls to me. But with that, each character has their own special ability and special weapon. In game, you'll need to get crafting materials to craft that special weapon. So with Tarek, you also get a stun trap, and that is kind of like an ult in Apex. For Tarek, it's a stun trap. It's a proximity mine that flashbangs and stuns the enemy characters. It recharges really fast, and so you can put out a couple of them in a pretty quick time. Moving on to Valora, she has the Aegis shield? Aegis? I don't know. The shield. It's kind of like Gibraltar's bubble if you play Apex, except when you shoot from the inside of this shield, The bullets go out, but they don't come in. With that though, over time, if the enemy players shoot your shield enough, they can break it. And she also has the Devastator shotgun, which seems to be pretty well balanced at close range. It has tore me up a few times. Alright, so Halden seems like a really good character to have on any team. His curative aura is a healing bubble, but it doesn't provide any protection in the sense that the Aegis shield does. What it will do though is if you have a down player on your team, you can revive them one time by using that shield on top of them. If you use the shield and they crawl into it though, that will not bring them up, but it does heal your character. So if you're out of heals and you have a Halden on your team, anyone can get in the bubble and get some heals. The strike rifle is the only thing I've seen other people say that has too much power. I haven't really felt that for myself. The gun is really good. It's kind of like a DMR, a semi-automatic rifle. It puts out a lot of damage, especially towards those NPC enemies. Alright, Kali the Archer. She has an active camo which allows you to go invisible, and the Heartseeker Cerberus. I don't know why they use these big words. I'm illiterate, so we'll figure it out eventually. I haven't seen too much about the bow. I haven't used it myself. I don't have the character unlocked, so I don't really know. But what I do know about her active camo is that if you have your weapon stowed, you will be completely invisible to some extent. But if you have your weapons out while that active camo is going, you're going to be able to see those weapons as an enemy. And that has gotten people sniped. So if you're going to be using that active camo, make sure you stow your weapons, because that's kind of a thing that you use when you want to run away. Alright, so Jay is a character I don't really know a lot about. I can't really speak on the Maverick or what it does, but I do know that the Overshield gives you a shield boost for a select amount of time, and it's pretty good for outplaying people when you run out of shield. That's pretty cut and dry. I mean, it gives you a shield boost if you don't have shields, and it's really fast. So sad to say, I don't know anything about Letty. All I can say is I know what an EMP blast is and what it does. I'm not sure how that plays into the game, but the Rosie revolver does seem like it puts out a lot of damage. The pistols put out more damage than you would think from playing other shooters. They work really well against NPCs. I haven't used the Rosie pistol myself, but I have used the other pistols in the game, and they do put out a fair amount of damage. Now, Cruz, this one I have seen a lot of, even though I don't have this character unlocked. The Tailwind gives you a speed boost, and it's insane in a fight. It will almost seem like someone is speed hacking on you. It doesn't feel like overpowered, but it definitely will throw you off if you think someone is going to be further away. They use that speed boost and come right up on you. The SMG he has also works really well with the Tailwind, because it allows him to close that distance and get up on you. That way he can use that SMG to down you. So like I've said before, I really give a lot of credit to the Scavenger devs for making everything seem really well balanced. There isn't a clear meta yet. Cruz seems like the only one that might have a nerf in the future, but I don't really see the need for it yet. So far, it just seems like there's a character for every playstyle, whether you're a run and gun type of person or you're just Overwatch for your team, which is what I usually am. All right, let's get into crafting. This is going to be a long section because there is a lot to uncover there. There's still a ton that I haven't uncovered and learned for myself. If you've watched any other gameplay, any other video on this game, you know that you're going to need to craft things while in game. You're going to have to gather crafting material, and at first, when you're a level 1 character, all you're going to be able to craft is your shield upgrades and your signature weapon. And you're still going to need a lot of crafting materials for those. You also have to increase your match level to be able to craft those things, but you can also unlock things to craft. So I'm going to hop over to the research tab, tell you what I know about it, and kind of talk about some of the things I've learned. So if you're back in the lobby, you can go to this research tab at the top, and you'll start finding things that you can learn how to craft. If you look at the top left here, I started researching the Opus revolver, mostly because I just wanted to dive further into the pistols and sidearms on this game. And so I can collect this now, but you have to collect materials to be able to craft these things. So as you can see, I haven't learned or researched the ammo crate yet. And at the right of the screen, you'll see that I still need 23 more power points. That will go up as your level increases. I did the math. It goes up by 4 points every time you reach another level. I also need ceramic, chemical salt, copper, and graphite. So to get those things, you'll have to salvage items, and you'll see that I don't have anything to salvage at this time, but you can get things to salvage while in game and also by doing challenges. And if you want to research something, you just click on it, and if you have the materials, it will start researching. So as you can see, it's going to take 39 minutes and 40 some odd seconds before this research is done, and I will be able to craft that weapon in game. And if you have these tokens, you can just hit finish now, and it's done. For the time of early access, you get 200 of those tokens every day just by claiming them in the shop. So far in this game, this is the only place where I think there's going to be a clear meta. And what I mean by that is, as a player who has more time to play the game, plays and levels up, they're going to be able to research these things faster. And being able to craft these items in game is going to stop their time from looting. You know, it's going to cut down time they need to spend doing other things in game that you'll need to do to keep up. I don't think it's going to be game breaking, but I do think it's going to present a challenge for someone who doesn't have as much time to play the game. But as I gain more levels and figure out more of the things that I can craft, there might be something in there that is going to be a clear meta, and it might present some problems later on. So that's the basic layout of the characters, the research, the gunplay, movement. Let's talk about the objective of the game. So unlike any other battle royale, you're going to just get spawned in on the map in a random location. There's no battle bus, there's no rocket ship that's going to fly you over the map and you get to jump out at any location. Not one POI is going to be more crowded than another because everyone decided to land there. You might run into enemies early on because they spawn near you, but that's solely based on chance rather than everyone likes that place, so they went there. Throughout the game, you're going to need to collect data points, and you collect those by going to strongholds and killing those NPC enemies. They drop as these little glowing cylinders, and the more that your team has, the better. There's also points on the map where you can store those. That way, if you or your team members die, they don't lose those. It does take some time to upload those points, and it's also guarded by NPC enemies and usually a hot spot for players to go. Other than data points, going into those strongholds are where you're going to find the most chests, the most crafting materials, and anything else you're going to need to survive that match. They're usually a good spot to find fires, and usually some dogs will be around, so you'll be able to get food. Speaking of which, this is a frozen wasteland map. You're surrounded by a blizzard. There's blizzard storms that break out randomly. You're going to need to keep your character warm because that freezing is going to lower your health. Food isn't really as much of an issue because it lowers your maximum stamina. It is an issue, but as far as losing health, I feel like that one's a much larger issue, so staying warm is usually going to take precedence over getting food. Like I said, just like any other battle royale, there's going to be a ring, and in this game, the ring is a giant blizzard that shrinks in on the map. With that, there are also smaller storms that will break out and go around the map. They move a little bit faster, and if you don't get cover, they will freeze you a lot faster. Once you get towards the final stages of the map, a dropship will come down, and you'll have about 4 minutes to get inside of it. And Once you're inside of it, other teams can also come inside of it and you can fight inside of that drop ship. I've seen a lot of people camp inside of it from the moment that thing hits the ground. I feel like it's kind of risky because if you find a team that's just better than you, they're going to beat you in there and they're going to take your points. But if you can get inside of that dropship and survive with other teams in there, when that dropship takes off, whoever has the most data points wins the game. Some have argued that that kind of makes it feel like there's not a real win to it. But if you can get inside of that dropship, there's still a lot of experience rewarded to you for completing the match and also for winning. So that's Scavengers. That's the game. I do want to talk about a couple of bugs that I've seen, and none of it's really game breaking or makes the game unplayable. It's just issues that are out there, and I want to give a clear review. And so what I've seen is a lot of frame dropping. I won't say a lot. There's been some frame dropping, and it hasn't been at really intense times. It's kind of at the start of the match and when there's a lot of players around, stuff like that. That is normal for, servers that are starting off. And with such a small player base, I'm sure that they don't have the best servers out there. And as the fan base grows, I'm sure they will upgrade. With that, there's also desyncing where, it kind of seems like a character's just bouncing from one spot to another. It's a little weird, but it does happen every now and then. It's not game breaking, but it does get a little bit annoying. I will still say that this is an incredible game. There's some issues that are still needed to be sorted out, but with such a low player base and not as much coverage on it as, say, COD, I can't really say anything too bad about the game. It really runs great for, how little they're working with. Overall, I think it's a really good game. They're definitely breaking into new territory for battle royales. This is the first one to at least my knowledge that has NPCs that you also have to fight. And so the game mode feels really new, really refreshing, and it's a shake up from what we're used to in the past 2 years of gaming. Because I have to say, battle royales have become really stale. It seems like everyone does the exact same thing, and they're breaking away from that. And so Scavengers has been such a fun game. So that about wraps it up for this video. If you want to check out gameplay, be sure to catch me live on stream. I'm going to be streaming this game more often right here on this channel. It's a free-to-play game on Steam and Epic Games, so if you want to check it out, make sure to get yourself a copy. And if you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe and like the video. Help me get this out there in the algorithm, because I'm sure a lot of bigger guys are going to start covering this game. But that's all for this one. I will catch you in the next video.